accused reasons. Although this question is open to interpretation, most of us would consider freedom the right to make our own choices. Marriage is a socially constructed idea. The meanings and ways of marriage vary drastically across the globe. Family has many connotations, and no one way of marriage should be considered the correct way. Not allowing same-sex marriage is not only unconstitutional, but also holds your society back on personal, individual levels, socially and economically. The true American way is not only the freedoms and rights of an individual, but the acceptance of others and their freedoms and rights. Barry Adams was a sociology professor at the University of Windsor in 1987. His work of The Rise of a Gay and Lesbian Movement argues that, quote, ambition, hard work, and inventiveness were to constitute the road to success. 2 Supreme Court cases made it unconstitutional to ban marriage based on sexual orientation. LawCornell.edu published information on the 1967 Supreme Court case Loving v. Virginia. This case ruled marriage as, quote, one of the basic rights of marriage, unquote. USCourts.gov provides information on another Supreme Court case in 1974 known as Cleveland Board of Education v. LaFleur. This court ruled, quote, freedom of personal choice in matters of marriage and family life is one of the liberties protected by the Due Process Clause. Although these states have declared it unconstitutional to ban same-sex marriages, only 14 states have legalized such marriages. It is un-American to restrict people of marriage based on personal biases. This country was founded on the idea that people are free to make their own decisions and lifestyles. Banning marriages from gays, lesbians, bisexuals, transgenders, and all of the alike goes against the democratic values of our government and therefore is purely un-American. It is unlawful to withhold the comfort, happiness, and loveliness that marriage brings to individuals. Legalizing same-sex marriage will allow individuals to grow and develop on a personal level. Not fitting a social norm can be scary, confusing, and stressful. Along with self-inflicted unhappiness, social disapproval adds more tension and conflict and contributes to the pressure individuals may feel. The 2005 book Gay Rights, written by Rachel Krantz and Tim Krusek, reports studies conducted at the University of California at Davis. In 2001, the study revealed that those attracted or thought to be attracted to the same sex are more likely to attack either physically or verbally, as well as be involved in fights where medical treatment was needed. Krusek and Krantz also referred to a 2003 study performed by the organization Gays, Lesbians, and Straight Education Network. 84% of participants in this study said that they were harassed verbally, and even more disturbing, almost 83% mentioned that the authority figures, such as teachers, were aware but simply overlooked the incident. This kind of physical and mental abuse can be dangerous to individuals. Stinker Van Datum, a science correspondent with the focus of social science and human behavior, reports in his 2003 article, Fans of Same-Sex Marriage Can Take a Psychological Toll. In this article, it states that with gay marriage being banned, they have a 37% increase in mood disorders, 42% increase in alcohol abuse, and a 248% increase in generalized anxiety disorders in their states. The lack of social support is not only unlawful and un-American, but also can have a serious impact on an individual's health and overall well-being. With the constant feeling of endangerment and isolation, an individual may feel no need to pursue their full potential because society refuses to accept them. In the 2003 study, many subjects made it clear that they had no intentions of furthering their education because they feared that the harassment would continue to follow them. These people could have the potential to change the future we all share for the better. However, we are still more concerned about their personal and private preferences. This hostile environment is causing individuals to suffer from mental, physical, and psychological disorders and ailments, disabling a healthy development and personal growth that could harm the rest of society overall. Legalizing same-sex marriage not only will decrease personal issues, but allow a society to prosper from the potential these individuals have to offer us. From an economic standpoint, legalizing same-sex marriage can be beneficial to local and state governments. Getting married generates revenue. Lovebirds pay for the legal recognition and the celebration of this rite of passage. In 2009, the article The Cost of Gay Marriage in Dollars and Cents, written by Catherine Perry, emphasizes that individuals must pay for marriage license and pay higher income taxes. Rituals of marriage, such as ceremony and reception, cost money. Venues, catering, dress, suits, florists, and a forced gift given by guests all cost money. William C. Thompson Jr., the New York City Comptroller, reports in 2007 in Love Counts, the Economic Benefits of Marriage Equality in New York, that the state has brought in over $142 million the first year of legalizing gay marriages. Over the course of 3 years, that number reached over $184 million. This much money can energize the economy to bring us out of recession. Also, this money could be put towards community improvement projects to benefit the whole society. Some argue that same-sex marriages threatens the concept of traditional marriage and family values. However, both of these ideals are open to interpretation. Prostitution, concubines, and mistresses have been around since the beginning of civilization. Furthermore, cultures around the world practice communal childbearing and polygamy. With all that said, what exactly does a traditional marriage mean? Heterosexual monogamy can be argued as wrong and unnatural. In 2009, Laura Levine and Mark Lewis Jr. wrote Same-Sex Marriage and Negative Externalities in Social Science Quarterly. This states that, quote, laws permitting same-sex marriage or civil unions have no adverse effects on marriage, divorce, and abortion rates, or the percent of children born out of wedlock. If marriage is open to interpretation and there is no harm for legalizing gay marriage, why is it still frowned upon in a supposed democratic society? What people do in their own privacy is their business and shouldn't be meddled into unless if there's a reasonable cause. Personal biases are not a reasonable cause. Speaking of children and same-sex marriages, it is argued that these kids will suffer from being raised in a homosexual environment. James Pulowski and colleagues published in a 2006 pediatrics article titled The Effects of Marriages, Civil Unions, and Domestic Partnerships on the Health and Well-Being of Children found that children of lesbian mothers had higher academic standing with fewer social conflicts. Gay fathers had children who were, quote, as well-adjusted, unquote, as any child of a heterosexual parent. If sexual orientation doesn't affect the children growing up in these homes, then it is unfair to say homosexuals are unfit parents. With over 100,000 kids in foster care, allowing gays to adopt will create a loving and nurturing atmosphere that kids need and thrive for. Some argue against gay marriage because of religious beliefs. The only reason why religious leaders perform marriages is because the government gives them that authority to. When it comes to making laws, there needs to be a distinction between church and state. For example, some churches recognize and welcome gays because what the Bible says. Then there are extreme views, like Jerry Falwell, who on September 13, 2001, openly blamed gays on the TV show The 700 Club for the 9/11 attack. Falwell believed that God had, quote, allowed the enemies of America to give us probably what we deserve, unquote. Although this is an extremist viewpoint, how can those in this allegedly free country blame its own members of society for the terrorist attacks they made against us? James Botton and colleagues mentioned in the 1997 book, Private Life, Public Conflict, that although fundamentalists agree that homosexuality is sinful, they insist upon, quote, saving souls, not entering political contact, unquote. These individuals are more concerned about being forced to marry people even if it goes against their beliefs. Although this may be true, it is unlikely that they'll seek approval from those who don't accept their lifestyle. Ultimately, it is unlawful to ban individuals the right to marry. The personal, social, and economical benefits of legalizing gay marriage far outweigh the personal biases that keep it illegal. Gay marriage is the biggest civil rights hurdle of our time. With acceptance of gay marriage on the rise, it is crucial for our political systems to adapt to the evolved society's beliefs, needs, and needs to prosper as a whole.
Any questions for Amber regarding gay marriage?